Welcome back to the Healthcare Data Matters vlog series. And in this episode, we're going to be taking a slightly different format to the others, as we'll be showcasing a presentation BridgeHead gave to the HIMSS Conference in March 2024 in Orlando. In this show, we participated in the showcase, where a small group of vendors were set the challenging task of showing and implementing a cancer pathway, and how data could be shared around this pathway. The participants in the showcase were BridgeHead Software, Epic, Oracle Health, and the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, in the US. The technical leap that underpins this presentation is the use of FHIR to easily share all manner of clinical content from simple reports all the way through to complex medical imaging formats. I'll let my colleague Tim guide you through the rest of the presentation.
Hi, I'm Tim Kaschinske, and today I'd like to show you how we can use external FHIR repositories with HealthStore to combine data from external systems with the data that we have in our clinical data repository, expanding the reach of HealthStore to other applications using FHIR. So as you can see, we've got our patient, Akeem Khalid here, and Akeem has a number of records. And if I hover, you'll notice that there's a tongue of fire on this. That indicates a document that's in an external repository. In this case, this happens to be coming from an Epic system that's has information published via FHIR. So we can access this document. We can sync it. We could bring it into HealthStore if we wanted to, or we can do all the things we would normally do. We can view, we could print, we could download, and there's another sync button here that we can do if we have multiple documents selected. This button brings in a single document. This button brings in all the documents that I've selected. So you can see there's a number of documents. A document that doesn't have the FHIR symbol is a document that is already in our clinical data repository. So you can see very quickly which documents are in the external FHIR repository and which documents are in the HealthStore clinical data repository. So if I go, I've pre-selected a number of documents to look at them and show you how they're combined with the data that we already have. So if I click on View, the first record that comes up, you'll see the tongue of fire on the tab, and that indicates that this is coming from Oracle. Okay, so this is an example of a document that exists within Oracle. It's not in HealthStore yet, but we can still view it from the Oracle repository and view it without pulling it into our repository. So that's an example of an outside record. If I take a look at this CBC, this is the traditional, this one is in HealthStore because it doesn't have the tongue of fire. And this is a record that we've received via HL7, and that we've converted that HL7 report into a FHIR resource, and we are that gives us access to the discrete data so that we can highlight specific data items that are not within the normal range that we receive with the data. And it allows us to change the view if we need to. It's displayed via HL7. I'm sorry, it's displayed via HTML5. Here's another example of a text report that we've got in our system that's a document. So this wasn't received via HL7. This was ingested likely from an application retirement. We can also pull up our chest x-ray view. This is an example of a radiology report that we did receive using HL7. And again, it's displayed via HTML5. This is an example of an outside record that you see that the tongue of fire isn't on here. So we have done the sync and we pulled this record into our clinical data repository. So this was in an external FHIR repository. We've pulled this into our HealthStore clinical data repository. This is an example of a radiology study, a CT study that we received via DICOM. So we can, along with all the other data, we can also display DICOM images, in this case, a CT study. And then finally, the last two documents, we have a CBC. Again, you see the tongue of fire. This one is from Oracle. And this is showing discrete results that we've received that is in the external FHIR repository and we're displaying. It's not, again, in the HealthStore clinical data repository. It is in the Oracle repository, and we're able to display it from that. And again, using HTML5 because this is discrete data from the Oracle repository. Similarly, we've got a report that is in the EPIC external FHIR repository, and this is an example of a text report that we're able to display using HTML5 and view it without pulling it into the HealthStore clinical data repository. If we wanted to sync any of these documents, we have the sync button here, so we can do that in the view mode as well. Thank you for listening. I hope this shows that we're able to extend the reach of HealthStore using FHIR to access data that is in external FHIR repositories. Thank you for your time.